It was a vintage radio, a relic from my grandfather's attic, that first caught my attention with its eerie hum. I was alone in my apartment, the city's usual chaos muted by the heavy rain outside. When I finally tuned into the peculiar frequency, a voice began to speak, not in words, but in vivid fragments of thought. At first, I dismissed it as interference, some bizarre broadcast glitch. But the more I listened, the more I realized these weren't just random thoughts, they were intimate, sinister, and somehow, they were about me. As days passed, the voice grew clearer, almost like a diary being read aloud. The broadcaster seemed to know everything about my life, my routines, my fears. I became obsessed, scribbling down every detail, convinced I could decipher the source. But with each revelation, the chilling thought dawned on me: I was hearing the mind of someone who knew me better than anyone else, someone who harbored a dark fixation. My heart pounded as the voice recounted events only I knew about, things I had told no one. Determined to uncover the truth, I traced the radio's origin, hoping to find a logical explanation. My search led me to a decrepit electronics shop, where the owner paled when I described the voice. He reluctantly handed me a dusty journal, filled with entries from previous owners who had heard the same broadcast. Each one ended abruptly, the final pages stained and torn. Panic set in as I realized I wasn't the first, and I wouldn't be the last. The broadcaster's thoughts were a script, a plan meticulously laid out, and I was the next chapter. In a final attempt to rid myself of the voice, I smashed the radio, hoping to sever the connection. But the silence was short-lived. That night, as I lay in bed, the voice returned, not through the radio, but in my very thoughts. It whispered my name, followed by a final, bone-chilling revelation. It was my own mind, twisted and fractured, broadcasting the end I could no longer escape.